But Aaron, shall we dive into define if you can what a standing operating procedure is?
Yeah, sure.
And then we'll work
So we need to have a system for creating systems. Ultimately, that's what a standard operating procedure template is. So whenever you create something in your business, it's good to follow a set structure so that it's meaningful, it's got purpose, and people know what it's for. So that's what this first document is for. This system is a system for creating systems. Always name your system. So for example, when we look at the next document, the system is for basic credit control. We could you could also state who created the system and the date. It's often good to look back at systems. Like I want to say periodically, because some systems you might look at once a year, others might change more often, so you need to look at them. But it's always good to date when you create a system. And whenever you write a system, always write down the purpose of the system. So what's the end goal? What's it for? What are you trying to accomplish? You then write a little bit of description about the system, as basically as much as possible. So we then go into who's responsible for that system. Now you might have loads of different tasks which need doing within a business, or you might have a meeting and then say, right, we need to do this, we need to do that, we need to do this. Unless you put a name to it, it's not going to happen. You know what I mean? So it's always good to like say who's responsible for the system. And because this is like the first one we're doing, Rob, and I'm sure we'll do more and introduce more systems. When it comes to what we'll also talk, hopefully we'll talk about like hierarchical structure. So how your business is structured. Usually we've got like we could have a flat hierarchical structure, which basically means you've got the manager at the top and the owners at the top, and then everyone filters underneath it. So that's a narrow one, and then we've got different layers of what do you call it, hierarchy, I suppose. Or we could have a flat structure where basically like all the different departments report to one main person, you, the business owner, or the manager or operations manager. So it's always key to say who is responsible for that system, and then if other people need to have input or do stuff, it's like name them, tag them in.
Yeah. Then people don't know what they don't know, right? I didn't know I was responsible for this. How can you chuck it on my thing to do a van checklist or tidy the van? I didn't know I needed to do that. No one's told me. Well, you can contribute to it and put your name on it.
I've got something called a delegation triangle. Whenever you delegate something, you always need to tick off these three things, and they're quite simple. It's who's doing it, what they need to do, and when. Like if you delegate something, always make sure you tick off them things, because if not, nothing will ever get done. It's like you might say something, I'll go and quote for this boiler, and weeks later you find out they haven't done it. Oh, you didn't tell me when. I mean, you need to have a fucking when. Make sure.
It's never been a triangle. It's just a circle of no one doing anything.
Exactly. And then once you do create systems, it's always good to write down how you do it. So the step-by-step process. So the A to Z. Don't scrimp on save on this process. I always think that if you're going to write something out and it's going to be read hundreds of times, that needs to be detailed so that everything is taken from your head onto the system, onto the piece of paper, so an idiot can follow it. And there's no deviation. This is the steps. This is how you do it. You might have some external links or some attachments which could aid in the entire system. And then just to help people that we've all got different languages. I'm an accountant, so I've got acronyms and jargon which I speak within my accounting lingo, which non-accountants will have. And just like plumbers, you've got different languages, like CP12, do you know what I mean? And whatever. I mean, I don't speak the lingo, so but
no, me neither. But I'm sure some in the group will help with it. The forms and attachment piece on that, could that include sort of logins to portals or bits of software that you might need to use? Would that go in there, do you think?
Yeah, totally. Make your life easier. If you're gonna go away and document how you do something, if you then want to delegate it, to make that delegation easier and someone can copy it and repeat it ongoing, just fucking flood it with information that's needed. Because what we're trying to do is we're trying to improve efficiency within a business. So the whole point of writing a system, it might take some time to document and do it, but then you've delegated something, so next time you don't have to do it. So by documenting it and being thorough in what you need to do, it then means that when someone does follow the task, it's that they're not going back to whoever created it. Oh, what about this or what about that? Do you know what I mean? Fucking write it all down, document it.
Yeah,
Include it.
and I think we hear so many times from businesses across all industries, but perhaps more so in the plumbing and heating one. It's all up here. It's all up here, and it just gets overwhelming because a lot of people that we speak to and work with, and that are in the wider community, they don't realize they're business owners. They're tradespeople, and I put boilers on walls or I fix radiators and taps. But you also run a business, and I think this can't not help in setting your rules of the game, doing it how you want to do it. If your plan is to sell it, someone walks in and says, okay, cool. How often do you do your van checklist? Funny you should ask that. I've got a written down procedure about who, what, and when our van checklist gets done. We do it like this around here. There's consistency if someone's away. So, I don't know how to do it. I'll do it my way. No, you won't. You'll do it our way, the business way. And I just think if we can try and help people get over that, doing this for the sake of doing it, there's some real benefits on the other side, isn't there?
You know why Mackie D's is so successful?
No, yeah, it's a great story, isn't it?
Yeah. It's because they've systemized everything. And everyone follows the same system. If you go to a Mackie D's in Manchester, Sheffield, London, what you get is going to be exactly the same. That's a system, and people are following the systems. People are following the process to get to the end result, which is exactly the same. Albeit it might not look exactly the same as what you see on the pictures, but you know if you go to Mackie D's, you know what you're getting. It's consistent, and the reason for it being consistent is because of standard operating procedures. They've got a manual of how to do everything, how to flip him off the floor.
Yeah,
I mean, how to change the oil in the fryer. They've documented every minute thing within the business. I know an accountant who's got a form and it tells their staff how to use the coffee machine. Like, no, I know it sounds silly, but they've gone to town with the E-Myth Revisited like philosophy.
Yeah,
they've systemized everything, and you know what? It flipping works.
Yeah. Well, I guess it creates. I'd imagine it creates more of a culture as well. It takes the responsibility away from the business owner to do everything, look after everything. It gives ownership to the team, consistency to the team, repetition, I guess, to the team. Where, Aaron, on this one, if someone's watching this now, I think, well, I don't know where to start. There's too many things. I mean, where in your experience have you seen plumbing and heating engineers get started on this? What are, like, if you can think of the first three, what would be the first three that guys should get done?
Yeah, systemize what you don't like doing. Yeah, if there's a job in your business which you don't like doing, but someone else can perform it, document it, systemize it, show, like, even write out the system with someone else as they're doing it. So then you sort of like creating the document together, and then next time they can just follow the document, coming from a place of they've been shown how to do it. It's been documented. Crack on. Yeah. I'll tell you a bit of a story. So one of my clients has an employee, and it was quite key and integral to their office, and he handed in his notice. This business owner was like, fuck, panicked. What the fuck do I do? I've lost a key member of staff who was integral to their business. I was like, don't worry about it. We've got a month to take everything from that employee's head out onto systems, so that if you don't find someone within his notice period, we've got everything documented, so then someone else can just follow it. And it just took the whole stress and the whole like, fuck, my business is doomed, out of the window, because we took a systemized approach to taking everything out of his head onto a piece of paper. Granted, this business should have been doing that from years, and I'll bang on it about it to all of my clients. All of my clients got access to Business in a Box. They get free access to it, and every month they get an email to say what new resources have been added to Business in a Box. And I can talk about it till the cows come home. Do you know what I mean? But whether people take action or not, people only tend to take action in times of
stress.
Fuck, shit.
The wheels would come off. I'd best go and look at my standard operating procedures. Absolutely. But hopefully in this group, this is going into the members community. Hopefully there is more proactiveness about the group, because this is what they're wanting. They're wanting things that are going to help them streamline, scale, be more efficient, standardize, get things out of their head. So, I mean, I guess a challenge to the group around this one before we jump on to the next doc we're going to drip feed in, is I guess try and pick the three horrible things that you're unsure about in your business, the three things that give you a bit of anxiety, the three things that you're not sure if you can trust that person to do, perhaps the one role that if that person left, oh God, what do we do? I guess, thinking aloud here, Aaron, you don't want to make one member of staff completely indispensable, because then you're tied. A member of staff needs to be able to leave, and it can't keep you up at night. And hopefully this might help. Rely
on systems, don't rely on people. People run the systems. The business owner writes the systems, which the people then follow. Rely on systems. Yeah, I can't stress that enough. And even if you sell a business and it's systemized, you get a much higher price for that business, because ultimately, if it's systemized, the business owner doesn't need to be in it. And if the business owner doesn't need to be in it, then it's sellable. If it's not sellable, you've got a business which is ultimately a job, which you're a slave to. And don't get me wrong, like, there's been times when I've been a slave to my business because like you're so used to doing bits. But we've now got softwares and stuff like that, which ultimately means that I can speak to you for about half an hour, Rob. Do you know what I mean? And know that my team are cracking on and doing things, because I've honed in the fact that we need to rely on systems. People in the systems.
No, absolutely. So I think it's a good choice that you've offered up here for the group to dive into first and to have a good go at. How long would one of these things take to do you think, as a guide? Is it a 5-minute job, a 40-minute job? Just as a sort of eye on time for the guys watching and listening, where we start with that?
Yeah, how long's a piece of string?
I thought you might say that.
No, because if you think about business and the amount of cogs that go into a business, all those different cogs are all different shapes and sizes. Different people use them. So, but I think the more you get into the swing of like, right, I need to fucking document things, I need to write things down, the better you get. That's the summary of this system, if you like. But one thing to also state is to like come back to systems. Softwares change, people change, businesses change. So it's always good to review a system to make sure it's still relevant. So that's the.
How often should you review it, Aaron?
Oh man, I keep on saying this. Like, how long's a piece of string? Do you know what I mean? Like,
what's your system for reviewing your system? I think as a rule, when we did some policy work a little while back to get on a funding source and a funding body, we had to review them every year, and we had to prove that we've reviewed them. So I think it took an afternoon's work to review about 10 policies. So it's not a great amount of time and effort and work once they're done. I think the main part is doing them, but you've broken the back of that by offering up these templates.
All right, so let me just dive into this. Basically, in my eyes, a business is never done. A business is never complete. You might write a system, and then 6 months later, a new bit of software, or you get a new part comes out to market, and you want to implement that into your business. So this is never done. But going back to a hierarchical structure of a business, if you've got like an owner, then the managers, then the people, Mark Lee Gerber calls it owners, managers, then the technicians. So if you've got the technicians doing the work, a manager then reviews everything, or like an operations manager or the supervisor, they review everything. So it's that reviewing of other people's work. If it comes up that it's not quite worked, or times have changed, go back to the system and change it. I don't. Businesses need to be fluid. COVID's been a big impact on a lot of businesses, but I think the main thing is that people need to pivot, and people need to not sit still, and people do need to change with the times. So don't see this as, right, I've written this system, that's it, I'm never going to revisit, I'm never going to change it again in the whole of my business's lifespan. Because if you do, then you're staying in the here and now. You're not moving on with the times. If you're not moving with the times, and your competitors are, you're getting taken over.
There's no point doing this and making it dusty, is there? It needs to be worthwhile and revisited.
So review it whenever you need to do it. I don't like fucking putting a black and white onto something, because nothing is black and white in business.
Absolutely. So